Hey guys, welcome to Silicon Valley Girl and welcome to Silicon Valley. Today we're going to talk about 13 things that I've learned about running a company since the age of 21. I'm 32 right now, which means I've been running a company for 11 years. So if you're thinking about starting a business, I would show this video to myself back in 2011. Because these things, you learn them as you go, but knowing them beforehand would save you so much time, mental energy, and money. So if you're thinking about starting a business, make sure you watch this video up to the very end. Let's do it. Always think about how big this business can get. And don't get me wrong, there is nothing bad about starting a small lifestyle business. Just be honest to yourself. You know, if I'm starting a flower shop, then this is how much I can sell maximum per day. Yes, I could try and build a big chain out of it. Yes, I could try and start a delivery. But realistically thinking, if this is the only store that I own, what is the maximum amount that I can make a month? And if you're okay with it, then you're okay with it. But if you feel that you want to start something that's gonna make, I don't know, billions of dollars or whatever, just be honest to yourself. Be honest about your ambitions and be honest about how much you want to make with this business, how many employees you want to have, how many locations, how big this business can get for you. The next thing that I've learned, no one can run a company better than you. Some people think, okay, I need to find a co-founder who will be building the whole business part, or I will need to find a co-founder who's gonna do all the marketing. I think as an entrepreneur who has an idea, you are the best person to work on the product, and you're also the best person to understand what your customer wants, hence you know the marketing. Every investor in Silicon Valley says that when we think about a startup, a young company, if the founder goes away, there is a huge probability that the startup will be shut down. Of course, when the company is bigger, when you have a team, when you have all the systems in place, it's easier to replace the founder. But when you're just starting out, it's all about you. So don't think that you will be able to hire a marketing manager who'll be like, oh, this is how you sell your product. We click these two buttons and you get millions. Unfortunately, it's not the way it works. And a lot of people have false expectations about, if I find another co-founder, if I hire this person. In reality, it's all about testing and it's all about you as a founder feeling the product and feeling your customers. What I also learned is that no matter how hard you work, no matter how big of a goal you reach, there would always be people who are better than you, who make more money, have bigger companies, unless you're Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates watching this video. Anyways, your happiness when running a business is #1 priority because you create a business to make other people happy. But you also do business because you want to be useful to the society. You want to make an impact and you want to be happy. And this constant treadmill of chasing goals and being disappointed about other people's success, and believe me, that happens especially with your competitors when you're like, oh my God, they just did this thing and I'm not even there. Don't do it. This is what leads to mental burnout. Instead, and this is the next tip, focus on your customers versus focusing on your competitors. Again, I've been there. There are so many competitors in the language learning space where Linguatrip is. There are so many competitors on YouTube even. And when you focus on making more than somebody or attracting more customers, you are competing for vanity metrics. The only metric you should care about is how happy your customer is. And all of your obsession needs to be around your customer. How do I make this product better? How can I make my customer service better? And this is what gets you those numbers. It's not about, yes, it's great to look at competitors. And don't get me wrong, I get inspired by my competitors. I get inspired by people who create similar content. I get inspired by people who run language learning companies because I see where we can go. But the decision on whether we should pursue something only comes from talking to my customers and only comes from understanding who my target audience is. By the way, guys, quick question. Let me know down in comments below who you are in terms of these. 1, you want to start a business but you haven't yet. 2, you want to start a business and you have an idea. 3, you've started a business. 4, you're generating income. Let me know down in comments below. I'm excited to get more information about you. The next step, I think some entrepreneurs would actually argue with me and say this is not the best thing. But as an entrepreneur who started with 0 budget, we had $300 to register the company. We just didn't have money to hire people. So I did everything myself. Copywriting, talking to clients, drafting agreements, which should have been done by a lawyer, doing our accounting, taking pictures for the website, like everything. And I think because I did that, it was easier for me to hire people because I knew how long it would take to do something in particular. What is the quality that I'm expecting? So I want you to understand that if you're starting from scratch, that's actually your advantage because you can try doing different things by yourself, because this will give you an understanding of how things function and it will become easier for you to hire people later. And the next tip right away, whenever you're doing something like creating a website or writing a text for your website, create a template. Start building systems right away. And by systems, I mean a set of rules of how you want things to be done. This is the tone of voice. This is how we talk to our customer. This is a template for an email. This is how we answer our phone calls. Everything that you do should be converted into a template. You can call it a PDF, you can call it a manual, an instruction. And then when you hire someone, you need to agree together that if you change something, that manual has to be updated by that person. So it's easier for you to hire and onboard new people. When you just start a business, it could be you or you and your partner, and it might seem unnecessary to have an office because at the beginning, it seems like it's an additional, unnecessary expense and you can work from home just fine. But after a while, you realize that you actually need a business address to start a bank account, and you won't be giving your home address to your clients. And as your company starts growing, you won't really be having meetings with your clients at the coffee shops. So at some stage, you want to have a more professional business image, but at the same time, you don't want this huge expense of having an office, which could be thousands of dollars a month. The solution is to use a virtual office. And who to better get a virtual office with than our friends at Alliance Virtual Offices. Now, don't be misled by a word virtual, because a virtual office package with Alliance Virtual Offices includes access to a physical office and face-to-face services, as well as digital ones. It provides a business address with a recognized office building, mail processing, on-site meeting rooms, receptionist support, and more. Even better, you can register your LLC with their virtual office because their address is a recognized office space. With this business address, you will get more credibility with banks if you're trying to obtain funding. And even when potential customers will Google your business, they will see a building, a real office. Meanwhile, you can get the work done from anywhere. From outside, from your home, even from your car. And if you're dealing with too many calls or want to portray a professional image, they have a receptionist service that will help answer your calls. By the way, having an actual business phone number that's tied to your company can also help you establish business credit. The good news is, whenever you think that you want to have a more professional work environment or need to meet your clients offline, virtual offices from Alliance provide a great selection of on-site meeting rooms and office spaces. I highly recommend you use Alliance Virtual Offices for your business needs. The link is in the description box below, and you can use my promo code SVG50 to get 50% off their normal setup fee. Thank you, Alliance Virtual Offices, for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk about hiring. I think this is the hardest thing ever. A couple of tips that I've learned. First of all, be super specific about who you want to hire. Like, again, ideally you would have done the process yourself, or you have a very clear manual on what the outcome should be, and then you hire a person. And the second tip would be always have a trial period. There were so many cases when we had the most amazing interview, their resume looked amazing, but then when you actually start working, realize that this person is not for you. And by having this trial period, you tell yourself, first of all, it's okay that if this person works for me for like 4 or 5 weeks, it's okay for me to say no to them because we agreed on this. And this would also create very clear expectation for a person that you're hiring. You're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna have a 2-month trial period during which I want you to post at least 10 videos and I want the conversions to stay the same. I want you to launch this product. Like, it is very clear for that person as well what's gonna happen. And then the next tip, if a person is toxic, no matter how talented they are, and I think I learned this first from Airbnb when they said like, we fire people if they're toxic. Doesn't matter if they are C-level or whatever, like if they're the most talented people in the world, the culture is number one. We want everyone in the workplace to feel comfortable. And I've noticed that if I have a toxic person, again, they can be really talented, but at some stage I stop communicating with them just because their relationship with me is toxic. And by toxic, I mean, you're talking to your team member and you're suggesting something and they're like, no, this wouldn't work. Or like, no, that you're wrong. Some type of toxicity is when they're not open to experimenting, they're not open to exploring new ways, they always say no to you. And these people, they just mentally bring me down, and I know that they bring down the whole team. We also had a person who started all the drama, like everything is a drama, and they wanted to quit every week. Like, there are so many people who just don't have the same mindset as you, who don't have the same cultural standards as you. And the best entrepreneurs say, if someone is toxic, part ways with them. And this is what I've learned, and this is what I try to do, and this is what I also look for during a 2-week trial period. Okay, the car is coming. For some weird reason, I really enjoy filming in the parking lots just because it's quiet and there is no wind. Anyways, let's go back in the field. Okay, the next step is a little counterintuitive, but be careful about not learning too much. And by this, I mean, there are so many conferences that you can go to. Like, I've been to this conference called Funnel Hacking, and I had so many insights, but I also understood that it was really important for me to come back home and actually work on things that I had in my mind. Because sometimes you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to this conference, I need to read at least, 50 business books a year, I need to take this course and that course. This could be really tempting because our brain is like, oh, I'm actually doing something for my business because I'm learning. But business is not about learning things. Business is about doing things, and you learn by doing. So please do not overlearn. I know learning experience is, I love learning. I take a lot of courses, but I also have to stop myself. Like, for example, this year, I told myself I'm not buying any more courses because I bought so many last year. I need to actually take them. Building a business can be really, really lonely, and it's totally okay. Totally okay to have a mental health coach. I've had so many problems where I thought I'm the only one, and the reason I have these problems isn't me and it cannot be solved. And when I started talking to a mental health coach who specializes in business people, I learned that everyone has the same problems. And the more you surround yourself with like-minded people, like, this is one of the reasons I love to be in Silicon Valley, because when you meet people here, they're all about business, and you start talking to them and you realize they have the same problems, and maybe they had them a couple of years ago already, so they have a solution. But if you feel that you're lonely and you don't have the right environment, and when I was in St. Petersburg, Russia, I didn't really have this entrepreneurial society. And once we came here, I believe I started growing a lot faster in terms of revenue, but also in terms of like what kind of entrepreneur I am. Okay, next tip, be careful about who inspires you. First of all, I love having a role model that I look up to, especially in business. I would try to follow the steps that they've taken. Like, I like what Franceschi did with Airbnb, so I try to get inspired by steps that he has taken. Like, design and clients come first, and they're experimenting with different things that they do. But in general, you need to be careful about who you get inspired with. We all know those people, right? When they show off a lot of things and you're like, oh, I want to be like this person. But then you meet them in real life and you realize they're not who they are. Or you meet their clients and their clients say how unhappy they were with the experience, or somebody tells you they're all fake. Like, just be careful. Get inspired, but also stop at the point when you feel, no, this is not about me. Maybe this works for that person, but I would never do this. Like, always be conscious about what's going on with you and how you feel about things. Your biggest asset when you build a business is not the code, is not your invention, is not your idea. Your biggest asset is your client's trust in your company. And this is number one thing you should care about. These people trust me with their money. These people trust me with their time. How do I help them with their life? How do I help them become the better version of themselves? This is something you should be thinking about as an entrepreneur every single day of your life. This is, again, your biggest asset. And last thing that I wanted to talk about this video is it's okay to say goodbye to your business. It's okay that at some point you're no longer excited about something. And my rule here is, if I build a system, if something can work without me, yes, it's not gonna grow as fast, but if I can delegate it, then I'm gonna do it. But if the system is not in place, if I feel that the quality is so-so, then I would just stop doing this and focus on something where I can get more impact. Thank you guys so much for watching this video up to the very end. If you're not yet subscribed to Silicon Valley Girl, please hit subscribe.